Today we're going to go over possessive adjectives in Spanish. First of all, what's a possessive adjective? It is the word that we will put in front of another word to indicate who owns that thing. So if we were to look at some examples in English, my of my books is the possessive adjective there. Their coach, there is the possessive adjective. And where is our car? Our is the possessive adjective. In English, the possessive adjectives are my, your, his, her, singular there, our, y'all's. Please note that I'm using y'all's as an abbreviation for your, plural, informal. So this would be the version of your that you would use if you were talking to a group of your friends or a group of children or other people that you know really well. And then for the third person plural, we have their. So if you want to say a group of people own something, it is their object. And then lastly, remember that we have the formal your in Spanish, because not only do we have the tú and vosotros, but we also have the formal version of saying you, which is usted and ustedes. All right, let's look at those words in Spanish. They are mi for my, tú for yours, su for his, her, their, nuestro or nuestra. Please note that I'm using the at symbol to indicate that that last vowel will either be an O or an A. And then we have vuestro, vuestra, and also su. And then finally, for the usted or the ustedes version of your, we will also be using su. All right, let's see what this looks like in practice. So, for example, my is going to be mi, and when the nouns are plural, mis. So, for example, if I want to talk about my friend, I will say mi amigo. If I want to say my backpack, mi mochila. Please note that even though amigo is masculine and mochila is feminine, mi will not change. However, if we change this to my friends, we will say mis amigos. If we refer to my backpacks, mis mochilas. All right, let's continue. Your, if you are talking to a friend, is going to be tú or tus. So if you want to say your friend, tu amigo, your backpack, tu mochila. If you want to say your friends, that will be tus amigos. Your backpacks, if you have multiple, tus mochilas. All right. If we want to say his, that will be su, sus. If we want to say her, that will also be su, sus. And singular there is su, sus. So let's look at that in practice. His friend, su amigo. Her backpack, su mochila. Their notebook, su cuaderno. All right. So for each one of these, even though in English they are different words, in Spanish, in each case, we will use the word su. Su becomes sus when it's plural. So his friends will be sus amigos. Her backpacks will be sus mochilas. And their notebooks will be sus cuadernos. So again, just to recap, his, su, her, su, their, su. And if we make that plural, we just make it sus, along with the noun. At this point, you might ask, how can you tell if you're reading Spanish and you see sus? How can you tell if it's his, her, or their? And the answer will be context. You will always have context or other things around this piece of text or other things around this conversation that will make it clear to you which su you are actually using. All right, let's continue. Our is nuestro, nuestra, nuestros, nuestras. That is, we have singular masculine and singular feminine, as well as plural masculine, nuestros, and plural feminine, nuestras. So, for example, if we're dealing with singular nouns and we want to say our house, nuestra casa. So now we have to not only pick the appropriate possessive adjective, but we also have to make sure that we make that adjective agree. Casa is feminine, so therefore we need to make sure that we change that last vowel of nuestro or nuestra to the A. And then our team, nuestro equipo. Okay, not much changes when we go plural. We just add the letter S. Nuestras casas, our houses. For our teams, nuestros equipos. All right, let's continue. Next, we have y'all's, which is my abbreviation for your informal plural. That is, you are speaking to more than one friend and you have an informal relationship with those people. Okay, just like nuestro and nuestra, we are going to have a total of 4 forms. We have vuestro, vuestra for the singular, and we have vuestros, vuestras for the plural. So to put that into context, we have y'all's class, vuestra clase, or y'all's car, vuestro carro. When we go plural, that becomes vuestras clases and vuestros carros. All right, for there, when you have, let's just say, those people over there, they have something. It's their thing. Once again, we're going to use su and sus. So if we want to talk about their team, su equipo. Their school, su escuela. If these things were plural, we would have sus equipos and sus escuelas. Finally, we get to the your formal. This would be the your that you are using when you're talking to someone with whom you use usted or ustedes. So this is going to be, for example, an adult in a store. It could be the parents of a friend. It could be your boss at your job. Okay? So once again, we're going to use su and sus. At this point, you may be wondering, I use su and sus for so many different scenarios. And the answer is yes, we do. And once again, it is key to remember that when speaking, you will have context so that you will be able to figure out which su people are referring to. All right? So if you were talking to, for example, your friend's parent, and you might want to ask them about their parents, that would be su padre. All right? If you were talking about your child, su niño. If we do the plural, we get sus padres and sus niños. All right? So remember that we're going to pick the adjective based on the owner and then make it agree with the noun. So let's look at these scenarios. If you were talking to Steven Spielberg, he is older than you, and this is definitely sort of a formal relationship. So if you wanted to say, I really like your movies, you would say, me gustan sus películas. All right, likewise, if you're talking to the Duffer Brothers about their TV program, yes, you're looking at both of them and you're talking to 2 of them, but right now you're only speaking about one singular program, so you would say su programa. All right, so let's review. We have a total of 7 possessive adjectives, although really what we have is mi, tu, nuestro, vuestro, and then 3 different situations where we use su. Okay, so when we want to use a possessive adjective in Spanish, first we have to pick the right adjective based on the owner. So if it's my thing, I'm going to use me. If I'm talking about your team, you and your friend's team, I'm going to go with vuestro. If I'm going to talk about Joe's sports, I'm going to say su. All right. And then the next thing that's really important, like all adjective in Spanish, you must make it agree with the noun. For the most part, that's just adding an S if the noun is plural. If you are talking about our things or y'all's things, then you also have to worry about making that last vowel, the O or the A, agree with the gender of the noun. All right, so let us take some time to practice. So what I'd like you to do is, as we go through each of the next slides, pause the video, write down how you would express these ideas, in this case, my notebooks, and then press play to see not only if you chose the correct possessive adjective, but you also made it agree correctly, if needed, with the noun. All right, go ahead and hit pause and write down how we would say my notebooks in Spanish. Muy bien. Estos son mis cuadernos. Next one. Ojo, you are talking to teachers, so make sure you use the formal your. Su escuela. Ojo, there are two teachers here because there are two photos. However, school is singular, so you're going to say escuela. Remember, we pick the possessive adjective based on the owner or owners, but then we make it agree with the noun that we're describing. Let's continue. Go ahead and pause. Nuestra residencia estudiantil. We are the owners, but there's only one residencia, so that is singular. Next. Sus mapas. Okay, one owner, but she has multiple maps, so that's plural. Tu pluma. Su maleta. Vuestra abuela. Sus lápices. Let's continue. Nuestro gimnasio. Sus lápices. Mi doctora. Sus libros. Please note that since Isabel Allende is a famous Chilean author, and she is also older than you are, you will be using the formal your, which is sus. And these are the possessive adjectives in Spanish and how you use them. I hope this was helpful. Hasta luego!